It's all new to me. Want me to start? I'm Tillie Simion. I have lived in Red River since 1930. We came from Kansas, and it was my husband was a coal miner, and it was during the 1929 Depression, and he was out of work, and we took it for a while, and then he decided that he would go look for work. And he called me Cookie. I was some cookie, you know. But anyway, he called me Cookie, and he said, when I get my first $50, I will send for you and the boy. So he left, and there was a lot of anxiety until we heard from him. And then when we heard from him, he was in Dawson, New Mexico. Being a miner, he followed the mines, and he came to Dawson, New Mexico, and that's in north of here. And of course he got work, but the mines only worked 3 days a week. And that, of course, that isn't much money. And he met another boy, a man, that had a car. My husband didn't have any transportation. And he met this man with transportation, and they heard about the Moly mine at Red River needing miners. So they got in the car one day and came to Red River. And they were hired $3 a day, 6 days a week. And if you were in ore or discovered ore, you would get more money. So they went to work, and they loved it. They lived at the boarding house. There was a boarding house. They lived at the boarding house, and they lived in the bunkhouse and eat in the boarding house. They had bunkhouse and boarding house. They lived in the bunkhouse and eat in the boarding house. But of course he got tired of that, so he decided that he would build a cabin. So he built us a cabin, 16 by 24, and he bought all the material, and the labor and the furnishings all went through the commissary, and it was deducted from his check every month, or every payday. So we got our first $50 and on our way. So on July the 4th, 1930, my son and I, we landed in Raton, New Mexico. And of course, my husband and the car, the man that had the car, were there to meet us. We had to get back home because my husband on the mine baseball team, he was the catcher. So he had to play on the team, and he got me, and then up to Red River, he got me to my cabin, just dumped me, and he went to play ball. Of course, I was sick from the ride, or else the high altitude got to me, and I just went to bed. And of course, I had a 7-year-old boy, and naturally he wanted to go barefooted. He went out and started searching the hills and stepped into cactus. And of course, we spent the rest of the day with him screaming, picking cactus thorns. And if I'd had any money or any transportation, I think I would have been back in Kansas. So that was my initiation into New Mexico. So we stayed. It was just one room, a kerosene stove, which of course throws out fumes. And I got curtains and knickknacks and fixed up the cabin. And we had everything in the corner, our bed and his bed, you know what I mean. But no bath, no electricity, not a thing. Just kerosene or Coleman lamps. Of course, they had a Atwater Kent radio, battery operated. Of course, Amos and Andy were the popular stars then. And Joe Penner, remember Joe Penner? I want to buy a duck. Y'all remember that? Well, that's what we'd hear every day, you know. So we stayed, and I washed with outside. We had rocks built on a rock fire, you know, rock built the fire, and I had a number 3 wash tub. Filled that with water, washed on the washboard, boiled the clothes, boiled and then we had a number 3 tub then to take our baths in, but we heated all this water out because our kerosene stove was just 3 burners, 1, 2, 3, you know. So that was that. But we liked it. He liked the mountains. We would hike and pick up rocks or just do anything. And then when we got enough money, well, he bought us our first car, a Chevrolet. It was a red car with a rumble seat. With a rumble seat, $865. Now they're $12,000, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. 806. So in that way, we could go more. And of course, Mr. Carmen was the mine foreman. He ruled with an iron hand, and the Moly in those days was pure, and of course it was in demand, not that which it isn't now. It was, and now it's low grade, and he ruled with an iron hand, and that's the reason the mine was such a success. His men had to go to bed, they had to be in, and the Spanish lived on one side of the canyon, and the Anglos lived on the other side. But we were all friends. There was no such thing as racial problems, no such things as racial problems. The commissary would open every day at 3 o'clock. You'd go to buy your food. Of course, all they had was staples. Nothing, fresh. They just had staples. But the telephone was there. And in those days, in the 30s, the Moly mine got all their mail from Red River. It would be Molybdenum Corporation, Red River, New Mexico. I don't know what the deal was. I think I know, but I don't know. But since then, it has been changed to Cuesta, New Mexico. So, but in those days, the mail would come to Red River, and Mrs. Johnson and Miss Brandenburg had the post office, and then they would resack our mail, and it would be sent down to the mine, and the commissary, the office, would open it, and we had pigeonhole boxes alphabetically, and our mail would be put in those boxes. So that was that.